Next is how to use Visual Studio Code. We've already done a little bit of this, but we're going to go into a lot more depth. So, to get into it, we are going to first just open up inside of our foo folder, code space dot, which stands for Visual Studio Code. So that's the command. Space period means opening in this directory. So code space period, open it up. All right. And you can see we have the last thing we did, which was Vim saying edit me with the capital E. Okay. So basics of what we're looking at. Okay. You have the contents of the file right here. You have your file tree right here. So all of your folders, your non-hidden folders and non-hidden files inside of here. You have some commands that you can get access to. If you open up a terminal, if you open up a terminal, it's going to be down here. And you're going to have, you can split your editor. There are different things you can do. And then on the left side are some more actions. So this one is the Explorer view, so you can see all the contents. And all this is doing is basically changing this section to be different things. Okay, so now this is the search. So we are searching inside of files. Then is the source control, which is using Git. Then this is the debug thing. I don't really use this very much because all of my debugging is inside of the terminal. I'm sorry, not in the the terminal and the dev tools. And then there are extensions. Okay, so let's go to this extensions, which is this these four boxes, one of them which is moved up. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see. So first thing we're going to do is install a couple several extensions. One is Indent Rainbow. As we are working, basically this will color the tabs nicely, and so we can really easily identify which code block we're in or which how deep we are in our code. Next thing is the template string converter. Template string converter. Okay, so all this does is if we are inside of a string and we start creating a template string, which you will learn in JavaScript, it'll automatically change the quotes to be a compatible string. Next is SpellWrite, which is just a little spell checker to make sure that your content, anything inside of your files, are spelled properly. And they are customizable if there's anything that is not technically a word, but is a word insert in your context. Like Deno isn't a word, but it's a word here. And it's case sensitive. It supports multiple languages in one document. It identifies snake case, camel case, digit 2 inside. Like there are all sorts of things. It does it the way you want it to. It's really useful. Okay. Next is Live Server, which basically anytime you update something, it'll reserve the files automatically. This is a really, really helpful thing for creating static pages. So we will be using this quite a bit. Next is Quote Flipper. This allows us to switch between the three different types of strings. So it allows us to swap strings inside of strings. And it's really useful to do. And so all you have to do is map it. I have it mapped to control quote. And so it'll swap between either single or double quotes, depending on what I need. All right. Next is To-Do Tree. This is really useful if you're working on big projects. So you add a little comment saying to do, and then you write a really small thing just saying, hey, what is this that you need to do? And what it will do, here, I'll go to a code base. Templates, I don't know, master. So this is my master template repository. If I go to my to-do tree, which is right here, I can see all of the different things I need to do, what file it's in, and what folder it's in. So I can see settings.svelte, change account information. And I can see status, remove status, and remove socket event. I don't remember what that's about, but I'd have to look. Oh, I know what that's about. Okay. And so you can create, put it inside of your files, and it's incredibly useful to identify. Basically, what you do is you've written some code that works, or maybe like everything else works but this, and you're like, I need to move on, but I want to remind myself later to work on this. That's what this can do. So I'm going to get out of that. Okay. Really useful tool. Next is ESLint. This is just a way to make sure that you are writing with correct syntax and have consistent code. And then for boilerplate information, lorem ipsum. This is a way to just generate whole paragraphs of code just to be able to see what paragraphs would look like on a web page or whatever you're trying to do. And then you have npm IntelliSense. This is so useful. Oh my gosh. Basically, this allows you to... I'm pretty sure this is automatically imported when you install npm, but this is an incredibly useful thing because it will basically autocomplete packages. And same thing with path IntelliSense. This is also a really useful thing. Basically, it allows you inside of files to create relative and just create path names. And then toggle JS and TS inlay hints. This is by far my favorite extension, with the exception of GitHub Copilot. Basically, this is this basically allows you to view the types as pseudo-text, so it's not actual text inside of your code, and you can see like exactly what is going on. And so if I open up, I'm going to open up that template repository again and show you what I'm talking about. So with with IntelliSense, I'm sorry, not IntelliSense. With this thing, let's go to I'm going to go to client, submodules. Yes, I have submodules. What? Oh, calculations are down here. Shared submodules, calculations, source, linear algebra, point. Okay, so I can see that this returns a point. Without writing point, I can easily tell that that returns a point because it says so right there. And I can control click on this and I'll open up this. This isn't real text. Like if I copy this and paste it somewhere else, it's not going to copy the colon point thing, but it's incredibly useful to identify. Also, what it does is it labels your parameters. So point, the constructor for point, takes in X, Y, and Z. And so you can see this requires a new point, X, Y, and Z. And you can see it's labeled. That's what toggle inlay hints does. So those are the extensions that I highly recommend. There are more, but those are the ones that I highly recommend for what we're doing. So now we're going to learn how to make a file. So we're going to go back. We were in this extension things. We're going to go back to this Explorer view, which is the top. And we're going to look at all of these. So first thing you have, first thing you have basically what the code base is. And then you're going to have new file, new folder, refresh Explorer. You rarely need to press this. Like it's it automatically does it. And then collapse folders in Explorer, sometimes useful. And then there are other things that are available. Which to me clutters this thing up. And so you have, here's your thing, but if you have open editors, like if I open this, like I can see my open editors, I want to close that editor. I honestly don't like those. The outline or the timeline, it just gets really cluttered. So if I open here and I have basically all of those open, this whole thing just kind of gets cluttered and difficult to use. So I just get rid of them. I don't want them. I never use them. It's easier to just not deal with it. So we're going to create a new file, and I'm going to call it index.html. Okay, so now notice how this renders this as an HTML file. Like it recognizes it. Hey, that's an HTML file. That's what's really cool about Visual Studio Code is, well, it's designed to code. So it recognizes extensions and does that stuff for you. And it'll give you like commands or like shortcuts because it recognizes what file it is and what you need to do with it. So that's how you make a file. Okay. So now we have that file open. How do we make a directory? Open a new folder and say dir, or just type in whatever directory you want. And so I can be test. Great. You can also make multiple directories in a row. So I can say test dir, and that makes 4 directories in a row natively. All right. So next thing is saving. So say we make some edits to our HTML file. So I'm going to type in the boilerplate HTML command, which is just exclamation point, and then I hit enter. Actually, no, I'm not going to do that. Test. I'm just going to type in that. So now you can see there's this circle right here. When you see a solid circle, that means it is not saved. And so if you just Control S, now it's saved. Pretty simple. When you open a file, it's going to have the file italicized. So if you click on another file and open another, like you can, this isn't like whole 100% open. It is like it's open, but if you click on something else, it'll close that file. That's why it's like, that's what the italicized means. Okay. So we went into saving, we went into opening a directory and all of that stuff, or sorry, creating directory, creating files. I don't think there's anything else. I don't use the terminal, but you can go to terminal, new terminal, and you just have a terminal right there available for what you need to do. And as you install more extensions, there's going to be more things available. So yeah, that's Visual Studio Code in a nutshell.